You guys want to talk about the TWaB a little bit, because we got some interesting stuff going on in there.
There was some stuff, yeah. We got to hear from Luke Smith, which we haven't heard from him.
It's been a while, right?
No, and it was pretty interesting. He starts right off by, he put a letter to kind of everybody with the community in the TWaB today, and one of the things he starts off right off the bat with is thanking High Moon Studios and Vicarious Visions for their assistance with Destiny. And he goes on to say that Vicarious Visions isn't done with Destiny yet, right? Is they're actually still working on future content.
They're going to be working on Season of the Redacted, is what he said specifically.
Which we think is going to be called Season of the Shadow now?
Well, the speculation? I don't know. That was the speculation. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Season of the Space Ninja?
It's good to know that more of their work. So that just shows you that the season pass content is definitely still in place and working with all those studios. It's the same.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no. It's the same now, but is it going to change in the future after? Because I got the impression that High Moon Studios is done.
After Penumbra, yeah.
Activision is done, and Vicarious Vision is still working on Penumbra, but then they're done.
Yeah, they said it's a swan song. Yeah, swan song.
Yeah, the way that it was worded and written was kind of like, thanks so much, guys, everyone at Activision and Blue Moon and VV, you've been amazing, which kind of does lean into us saying that they're not going to be working with them anymore. Bungie's going to be literally just working with people at Bungie.
That's why I took away from
right now.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised because they've had such a good relationship with those companies, and I'd imagine that those companies could work something out with them to continue working on the IP. But
if Activision worked something out with Bungie to have those studios,
those are kind of Activision companies, right?
But I look at Activision, I see Activision as like, where can we get money? And that's obviously a place of money. So it seems like they'd be interested in those deals, but maybe maybe they've spoken for different projects already for them.
He talked a little bit about learning from past mistakes with the Black Armory. He said, in the Black Armory, we set power requirement, for the first forge too high, and that meant it wasn't a great chance to jump into some new content. We want to find a line that many players can play and aspirational content for players to progress toward. We're exploring improvements to catch up mechanics for players in upcoming seasons.
It's good.
Good.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. The catch-up mechanics, I mean, that was a big concern, is that like people who, frankly, like me, who kind of put down Destiny 2 after they beat the raid in Forsaken, come back and like, oh shit, I've got to get like 60 levels in the next, to play the next stuff, right?
No, I think that statement by Luke is like right on the point, that a lot of players,
for sure,
they want to play the new content when it comes out. They don't want to go, I have to level up for another week or 2 weeks to be able to enjoy
the same previous content that they've already been playing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was resoundingly what the community basically said. And after the first week of Black Armory, after the first day of it, for the most part. So good to see that was heard.
Yeah.
He talks long term. Bungie is committed to Destiny. We created the universe, and it holds its future entirely in our hands. The vast majority of the team is hard at work envisioning future experiences, enemies, and ways to play the Guardian you've been building since 2014. We're going to keep doing that. We're thinking about what it means to be truly independent, what it means to self-publish, and crucially, what Destiny's future can now look like for our players.
I tell you, when my heart started racing, when I saw that the Guardian you've been building since 2014, like I have this vision in my mind that's probably an impossible future, whereas you disconnect from Activision, who tries to have this 10-year schedule of disc having to be released every so often, that maybe with a more nimble, more at Bungie, that like the Guardian we've been building since 2014, like more of that stuff can come into D2 and D3 can come into D2. And instead of being D2 and D3, it's just Destiny. And it's one universe that constantly expands and has everything. Is that a pipe dream?
Destiny.
I don't
Immortal.
think so.
Dun, dun,
The last line of this, I think, is actually really interesting and something we could talk about. When I look ahead and think about Destiny and where it could go, I see a bright future with roots in a memorable past. Not everything has been lost in the dark corners of time.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. And like,
I'm like, what is it? What do you mean, Luke?
What does that mean? What's that hinting?
Honestly, like talking about your suggestion, James. I don't know if they would honestly converge all characters into like this one timeline, but I would absolutely love that. And if Luke Smith did guide the ship more towards that, to be able to take your account from 2014 and then the stuff you've done in Destiny 2, and then be able to like tap those things into this longer version of, or like the final version possibly of a Destiny franchise, or the third installment essentially being like the final version. If they were taking those things and he was, pulling inspiration on that, I would love that, man. I think that'd be really cool, honestly. Like get rid of the 3-character limit. Like, it's more treated more like an MMO, to where you have multiple characters and you choose what you want to work with, or you bring forward your D1 character, you bring forward your characters, you bring forward your D2 characters, and also have chances to make new ones because maybe there's a new class that's available. Like that'd be really interesting, honestly.
Yeah.
There's no reason to get rid of that limit unless they give you some choices to actually make a difference, though, right?
I want to be able to have 3 hunters again, personally. I mean, especially if they double down on making those classes feel more different from another and really go into that, then I think it's going to make sense that people are going to want to be like, I am a hunter, I am a warlock, I am a titan, and they're not going to want to do everything, because the more that they differentiate between each other, the more you're going to want to just play one.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one thing that I hope Destiny like strives to always have, is just like a distinction between all the classes. Recently went back to playing World of Warcraft, and every single class felt the same, and that really kind of bummed me out, because that was one of the things that I loved about WoW, was how everything felt different. It's like, oh, I want to learn how to play this now. Now I want to learn how to play this. Now it's like, this is your DPS move. Going off on a tangent, but yeah, like,
I was watching the Anthem live stream today, and that's one of the things that really struck me, is how you can have like the Titan, the thick boy, whatever it's called, the exosuit or whatever, and be like, the guy on the front lines with a shield and a big ass gun, or you could be in the back using magic and kind of spitting at people from far away, or you could be like the fast guy, or like it's all sorts of different. Like the classes seem to like have real differences in gameplay with Anthem, and it's one of the things that I'd like to see come to Destiny. Yeah,
absolutely. Like it's always felt kind of like an RPG light, with fantastic,
real light.
Yeah, very, very light with great shooting mechanics, but ultimately it's just every now and then you chuck a different grenade or use a super. I mean, the jump it gets affected too, but let's be honest, warlocks.
That's one of the strengths that I've liked about Destiny, though, compared to other things. Like,
the warlock.
What's
jump?
that?
No, just like the
no,
RPG
nobody likes that, James.
Nah, I mean, discounting that garbage, obviously.
The RPG light side of it, like, when people say, "Hey, are you interested in Division?" I'm like, nah, it's a bunch of fucking spreadsheets and shit, and just like you shoot stuff and numbers go up based on stats. I'm like, I'm not interested in that. And I like Destiny because for the most part, there's not a hell of a lot of play in terms of the RPG side of things. And it's more about like it's more about your individual choices in terms of like how you're going to play instead of how you're going to spec your character. Yes, they both can change based on one another, but I don't know. I feel like it's more affected by your play. Hey, it's 6:45 p.m.
Oh, sweet.
There's a
time to do a podcast.
Yeah,
totally do a podcast. James, what are you up to? You want to jump into a podcast?
Yeah,
I think so. Is it time to
all right, cool. Let's do
it.
it.
My bad.
See you guys later. We're out.
Cut that one a little bit too late. Would have missed the podcast.
You would have been very late if that was
Very
the
late,
podcast alarm.
So I want to say that I see both sides of it. I do agree there is a benefit to it being an RPG light. People can get into it easily and they can get going and like feel like they're doing space magic and all that. But on the flip side of it is that when you do invest time in your character, I feel like that horizontal progression just immediately gets snipped and doesn't exist.
Oh yeah, no, that's one of the things Destiny has always struggled with was horizontal progression. Once you get like the one thing, there's rarely ever a time where you're like, oh yeah, I want this other thing because it's going to drastically change how I'm going to play a build. It's all going to be fairly similar unless you really like looking at, fringe little cases of how something can change.
Yeah,
I think at the far end of the end game of PvE, some of that stuff really starts to stand out. I think in PvP as well, exact same thing, where when you have that all arc armor build, or when you have the right mods in the right places and you got that fallen armaments mod and you're at Niobe Labs level 7 and you're out of power ammo and you can throw a nade and you can get ammo back and you've got the right roll on the right gun that's got the right mod, and now you can put the base radiance on it that now does the extra damage, and you start to add together these pieces and parts of the puzzle that literally there's people that sit there and have these spreadsheets of exactly how many points everything does and what goes best with what. And there is that part of Destiny, and there's a segment of the community, and it's a big segment that loves that part of Destiny. Like, it's there. Maybe it's not commonly used by the masses, but it's there in Destiny. It exists.
Yeah.
So
I guess the strength about it that I was trying to say is you have the option to do that, and you can see differences, but at the same time to not really be that invested into it, and you can still see the different changes. Whereas in other games, other RPGs, like, you basically have to play like that if you want to want to change stuff up. And Destiny allows you to have a lot of freedom in terms of what.
Yeah, and that is a really tough balance to find. James, I do agree with you that there is stuff that you can like. You can forge those various versions. Like, I personally have a shoulder charge Titan that I love. It's got impact mod and everything, so I can prevent Titan timeout as much as possible and just constantly shoulder charge things. But it's like, it's only a few cases, in my opinion, that show up in the game right now, and it's in a few spots. And I would love there to be what we have now in Destiny, and in addition, a lot more of that horizontal progression. So you can't just jump in and play, a few hours a week and be successful at it and get drops and all that. But it'd be awesome to be able to also invest into these like really like esoteric builds that, they take a lot of time to get to that point, because you have to really craft and do some stuff to get to that point. But it's also really exciting to have those payoffs of making those builds that another person would be like, whoa, how do you do that? And then you're like, well, you got to have all these things, I mean, that's part of having a build, is like, you can't just go and get that build today. Like, you got to work towards it. That's part of the fun of having that.
It is, but I guess part of my concern as a raid Sherpa, somebody that brings in primarily brand new people that have never done this before. I get people in my fire team every day that aren't real sure what jump they should be on.
Sure.
And they don't know what subclass to use, and they don't know if you press and hold versus tap, what the difference is, right? And if I bring them into a raid and I get halfway through and I'm like, oh, you don't have that armor perk? Well, you can't beat the raid then. We're just going to have to boot you out and bring you in some other time.
Yeah.
Like, I want things to be accessible, but then I also want there to be activities where you can build that horizontal progression build and you can get to the highest heights. So then define that balance between accessibility and then have that content where you need that stuff. I guess that's where it's so difficult.
And honestly, we're on the same page on that too, because I definitely don't want it to be where you have to have a very specific perk that takes a long time to get in order to actually complete an activity. I don't think that would be smart and fun. I definitely not. Like, the way they have it set up right now for a quote unquote casual viewpoint to be able to jump into the game, I think is fantastic. I think it allows a lot of people access to the game, and it's great and it's fun. But I also think that they could definitely have these horizontal progression things in the game that allow you to get these incremental percentage increases on stuff for your playstyle. I think they can absolutely coexist.
Yeah.
Do we want to go further down with the TWaB now?
To the sandbox?
Yeah, so we're getting some sandbox changes.
Time.
Auto rifles. Damage increased for rapid fire, adaptive, and high impact families. Find that auto rifles are a little unforgiving for the ranges that they ask you to occupy in a world of special weapons, and as a result, we're increasing the damage to offset the higher risk.
Basically, auto rifles were kind of balanced around precision shots, which those kind of suck to hit with auto rifles.
Right.
Basically, every single weapon's balanced around hitting,
It is,
headshots. So auto rifles kind of got the rough end of the stick there. Yeah, should make them hopefully better. We'll see.
Scout rifles damages are being increased for lightweight and rapid fire families, as well as an increase to all scout rifles in PvE. Scout rifles are always going to be on the lower end of damage due to the safety, because you're a coward for using them, that their range affords you. But the difference currently between them and the primary weapons is too drastic. As a result, we're reducing the size of the gap.
It's good.
Yeah, sure.
Scouts. I mean,
Scouts. I mean, anything that is helping Scouts is going to be a good thing. Is it going to be enough? Probably not. Maybe
if you're using a Scout in PvP, all the maps are super not
Scout friendly
for Scouts for the most part, aside from like Vostok.
Yeah, what's that brand new one though? That was a pretty good Scout rifle map.
Yeah, the skate park one.
Oh, yeah. Equinox. Yeah, no,
I'll be honest. I stopped listening when you said Scout. I didn't hear what the buff was.
No, Scouts need help mostly in PvE. For PvP,
Scout rifles are getting the courage of the lion.
That scares me if they get buffed to the level that Fighting Lion got buffed. Yeah.
Sniper rifles are going to get a buff, increase the damage on the rapid fire archetype to be able to kill in 2 body shots. Although snipers are still finding success, we believe that allowing you to clean up a kill easier with a sniper rifle will allow the sniper to have that success at more ranges and in more situations.
Are they finding?
Yeah, when I read that part where it's like the snipers are fine, I was like, they're not, and they're not fine. A teammate can hit me and flinch me so hard that I cannot hit anything.
Apparently that's fine.
A person can shoot by me, not even hit me. Like the bullet going near me is enough to flinch me. Maybe that
they need to tune
working
down
as intended, guys.
They really need to.
Flinch, especially in PvE, is so annoying.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It is.
I kind of interpret that as PvE and PvP, and I definitely feel like in PvE, snipers are used a lot more now than what they have been throughout the history of D2. I think about D1, and like we use snipers so much on raid bosses, so much on strikes, right? And beginning of D2, not so much.
Yeah,
we used everything but, and now I feel like we're coming back to using snipers more and more. So I think it's headed that direction in PvE. PvP probably needs a lot more work.
Well, that's a good point, honestly. That maybe they're looking at the data as a whole as like literally,
and they're like, we
PvE.
see you like Whisper of the Worm.
Yeah,
snipers are great.
We're not touching it. Look at these percentages on Whisper of the Worm. Yeah.
Legend Acreus is they're increasing the damage and bumping out the range.
Yeah,
oh Lord.
Oh yeah.
As time moves on, things tend to trend upwards in terms of power, and in post-Forsaken World, Acreus simply didn't have the output to match other heavy weapon exotics.
Because everybody's using Whisper. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you've definitely got better shotgun choices than Acreus for PvE, plus you got the Whisper for higher damage, or you got Thunderlord. In PvP, I don't know. I don't play a whole lot of PvP these days, so I'm not sure. Is Acreus
you use Tractor Cannon? You use Tractor Cannon.
Cannon is better?
Yeah. Tractor Cannon's better because it basically has the same range. It suppresses supers. It has a stupid amount of ammo.
Yeah.
It's not slow. Its handling is insane. It increases. It's basically like it's just way better.
Acreus had its time in PvP though.
It for sure did, man.
Oh yeah.
It was infuriating for a while.
Yeah, there was a season of the Acreus.
Yeah.
Telesto's
getting it rough here. I don't think it deserved. I think people need to get good. Quote me, fucking hot take, but it's real. It's real. Get over it. PvP damage brought down to match a standard fusion rifle charge rate. Optics zoom was also increased to match fusion rifles with long range scopes. Telesto has become fairly notorious in Crucible for its effectiveness, even in some cases getting accidental multi kills. Pay attention, you won't accidentally die to it. Due to how damaging the explosions were. To combat these, we've reduced its PvP damage to match its charge rate. This brought up an issue where doing so is significantly hurting the usability of the weapon, so the optics were buffed in return. And generally, you should still find it effective weapon. It's generous with it as it was before.
Discord cut you off.
Discord's having some issues tonight.
Okay, look, it's just me saltily reading the Telesto part in the TWaB. Basically, they nerfed it and then buffed the optics and gave the reasons for it. I still think Telesto is absolutely fine in the current state that's in. If you find yourself dying to it, maybe you should stop rushing with a shotgun so much. Yeah.
Or like standing there across the fucking map.
Maybe you shouldn't stand still.
What if you're shooting at them with a scout rifle across the map?
I've seen some clips of Telesto like getting kills from across the map that are like, what?
Maybe you shouldn't stand still to allow it to kill you like that.
So
you're using the get good argument.
Yeah,
I'm using the get good argument, not any jest or sarcasm. Get good.
Yeah, I think Holtz is just straight up saying, "Don't get hit." You keep dying in PvP.
Don't get hit.
Don't get hit.
Yeah,
it's easy.
Just get good, man. Just get good.
Yeah, and it's going to be really great when a bunch of people are now like, "Oh my God, shotguns are overpowered." And Telesto was one of the few things that you could use to actively combat someone that was just shotgun rushing. And now, oh great, now the only thing to really combat a shotgun rusher is another fucking shotgun.
The last word.
Yeah, the 29th. Maybe you heard about this thing called the draw.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
January is a little bit booked for me.
God, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on 29th.
A little bit.
No idea what you're talking about. And if anything, if there was something coming that could effectively combat shotguns, man, it would be nice to have multiple options instead of just one.
Did he just confirm that we're going to be able to two-hand the last word?
Yeah, you did.
I think
both hands at the same time? Multiple?
Maybe a nation of beasts.
That's what I heard.
And the last word?
Timestamp that.
Yes, that's what I want.
Hey, trace rifles.
Yeah. What about them?
Yeah.
They're increasing the minimum amount of ammo you could receive from special ammo boxes. So you're going to get more ammo whenever you pick up special ammo boxes. Trace rifles had a pretty rough time keeping ammo reserves in the Crucible. Doesn't have access to scavenger perks. You should have more success using it more often now in the Crucible. And the changes will also affect PvE bricks. So that's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
Cool.
Because trace rifles are really fun to use in PvE, but they just,
They are. They're fun to use in PvP too. And now you're going to be using more often.
Also, they reduced the strength of Wave Splitter in PvP because turns out when Wave Splitter has more ammo, the only thing people will probably use is Wave Splitter. Nerfed. Yeah.
I feel like I run out of Wave Splitter ammo pretty quick in PvP.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Compare it to other guns where I might be able to kill. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm interested to see like the power of Wave Splitter. Unfortunately, I don't play on PS4 anymore, so I have no idea what that's going to be like. But community, let me know. Let me know if it's still busted, please. Weapon tuning is an ongoing process. We'll be sure to talk to you about it again in the future. Some topics we're looking for future potential adjustments include trace rifle damage in PvE, submachine gun adjustments, shotgun adjustments, and taking a holistic look at the heavy slot options and how much of an impact it has on loadout choices in PvE content.
They're moving Whisper to kinetic slot.
Wow.
These changes are coming out in update 2.1.4. When is that? Is that
it's the 29th?
The same
January
update?
29th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not too far away. I wonder with the auto rifle buffs, how good is that new auto rifle?
Breakneck?
Isn't that the one we used to use?
The breakneck, yeah. How good is that going to be?
I mean,
Breakneck is already really good.
With the Rampage spec mod, it's amazing.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've
really
heard.
good.
I'm still 6 games away from Gambit.
just do the 6.
I'm waiting for like the perfect. I'm waiting for the moon and like the stars. There's got to be the right planetary alignment before, you know, only 2 matches. Because if I get a 3rd round of Gambit, I'm sorry, I'm done. Woo.
Oh, Breakneck.
You just leave, you just
Nah, I'm done. I'm done. It's over. Yeah.
Breakneck is not getting affected. Wait, rapid fire and adaptive? Is that? Oh yeah, it's a precision. Breakneck is precision.
Oh.
We just need that Mayhem 3rd round you guys came up with. Then we'd be good.
That would be nice. Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm. So, hey, they're talking about some changes that will also be coming with Black Armory. And by Black Armory, I mean there's changes that are coming to the Black Armory activities that you do.
Let's hear about it.
You know how ballistics logs get removed at reset?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unless you just put them in the bounty and don't turn the bounty in.
Good.
Yeah. They don't do that anymore. So great. Now you can stack those up. Ballistics logs will be increased to 5 per character. So sweet. You can save.
That's
up
also nice.
That's good.
Yep. The weapon frames carried across reset now refund into Gold frames give you a ballistic log back. Silver frames give 3 modules reports. Any instance of a radiant matrix will be removed on a weekly reset. Bummer. Players should stop experiencing the issue where frames are missing from Ada's inventory on a week-to-week basis. Players may still only purchase up to 2 gold frames per week. Why?
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand. If you can stack up to 5 ballistic logs, why can you only spend 2 of the 5 to buy gold frames, and then does it save the others for future weeks? So you're stacking them up so you can like go on a run of like 2.5 weeks?
Is it to limit power progression?
Yeah, I would assume,
Maybe
right?
because they're powerful frames?
Yeah.
That makes
that actually makes sense.
Why do you have to be so logical? Come on.
Right.
Good
Something came over me. I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from.
I mean, you wouldn't have to do those bounties that week then, if that's what you did.
Yeah.
So, like, I could.
That's
So
what
you
I'm
can
doing.
do them while you're earning your frame as well.
Yeah, so I could see it like that. That's a nice little time saver right there. But yeah,
Drop rate for Black Armory lore increased from 10% to 20%.
At least they gave us numbers.
there's
Yeah, when I saw that, I didn't really care about the lore getting increased. I was like, "Holy shit, numbers on this!"
there's lore in the game.
If you would have told me that completing a forge had a 10% drop rate on lore, I would have said, "I don't believe you."
It's true.
You would have thought it was lower.
Yeah, I would have thought it's at like 2%. Honestly,
I don't pay attention to when that drops for me. I see it pop on the ground.
I don't really.
It drops so infrequently.
Yeah.
That I thought it was because like, hey, you did a forge for the first time or something.
Right.
That's how infrequent it was.
Should
now
lore be a community thing where like you get a piece of lore and I get a piece and we bring it all together in some kind of a forum where we piece it together as a puzzle and share with
Can I
each
just
other?
get my piece to
Or should we
Mylan?
all get our own?
So you can make a video about it and tell me.
I think lore should be a thing that you collect because part of the fun is being able to be like, oh my god, I completed this lore book by myself. Now I can go through and read it.
Okay.
Like
so
instead of going online and doing.
I
it
agree
there.
with you, Holtz. And we had that in D1 with the ghosts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't like that it's RNG. Just straight
Oh
up.
no, I agree with that. I don't like it's RNG.
Yeah.
Or
I'd
maybe
much
I'll
Ghost
prefer-
hunting was an activity upon itself, and I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I'd much prefer hunting very obscure ghosts in the world to actually collect all these pieces of lore.
No, I absolutely agree with that. I hate that there's RNG tied to it. I just like the feeling of completing the book.
Yeah,
Right.
I liked how there were some that were hidden in raids, so that like if you're bringing somebody new through a raid, you get to tell them where the ghosts were.
Yeah, don't forget the ghosts, right?
Fun.
That was the thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, now if you're wanting to grind for Black Armory lore, you have to successfully ignite. The
I don't have to
forge.
do shit.
You have to ignite the forge prior. You have to
ignite the forge.
You can't just AFK.
Can't make me.
So yeah, you can't.
You're my
AFK
real dad.
More Briar to farm that lore. Sorry. Let's see. The quest step that requires players to defeat a high value target on Nessus no longer requires a player to land the final blow. Modules, reports, and ballistics
That's
logs
good.
will now go to Postmaster if lost. Forge emblems will be awarded when completing a forge, no longer requiring a specific bounty. Which
Dude, that final blow thing, I didn't personally get affected by that, but I
Frustrating.
heard it was infuriating.
It was.
Oh my
it
gosh,
was.
yep.
And people would be so mad because you'd see 4 or 5 people hovering, knowing he's
Yeah.
coming. He's coming. And you would
Yeah.
swarm to see who could get the first shots in, but the first shots didn't matter. It's who finished them off.
Yeah.
And then everybody'd be shooting you because you're the one that stole
Well, you
their
gotta-
kill.
you
It's
gotta
like, dude,
sit around
I've been
there
waiting for
and
30 minutes. What are you talking about?
You got to wait for his health bar to be about a quarter and then shoot a rocket at him.
Exactly.
Just use
Oh,
Celestial
I'm
Nighthawk and then none of
Actually,
that
I already
matters.
had that. See ya.
Blade barrage.
Red level
That's a
shotgun,
good
point
point.
blank.
Blade barrage them, right?
Yeah, that'll work.
All right.
This is clubhouse renovation. Do we care anything about that?
Some stuff changing on the Bungie.net forums. That's a place of vile.
Place that I do not go.
I don't want to go there.
I like the
Actual
idea,
toxic.
though, of them trying to make it a better place to communicate what's working and not working about the game. Because if they go there to look to find
Mhm.
stuff and it's not working now, well, then they're working on it, right? That's a good thing.
They put up a list of things that they expect to be resolved in update 2.1.4. These aren't guaranteed, but the most important one of these is the knife flip emote
Yes.
does not loop indefinitely, and it
Mhm.
should.
It should.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
So
I want to stand there.
thank God we got our top guys on it. Top minds working on it. Why is
solving
this not
the real problems?
Dude, that's a real
2019.
problem. Okay, I got that emote for free, and I expected to be able to just sit there for the rest of the game until the servers go down flipping that stupid knife.
Yeah,
right.
You can't.
You got to
I had to
refresh
set
it
up
with a
macro
button.
to
Yeah,
hit the button.
unbelievable.
I'm going to sit in my Callus throne forever. Does that count too?
Yeah,
Yeah, that
Yeah,
should be an ongoing issue.
that should be it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Message some people, file a bug on it. Get the top minds on that one too.
Get top men on it. Is that it? Is that all we want to talk about from the TWaB?
I mean, yeah, you should
think
definitely
so.
watch the movie of the week because it's pretty funny.
It's
Getting-
good. Yeah, I watched it.
Getting max amount of players in a public instance, and then all of them are on a Warlock well, and they're just popping the well over and over and over again to kill bosses. It's hilarious.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. I think the end of the TWaB's worth mentioning too. And when
Yeah,
they talk about level 7 and Naomi Labs and who beat it, that although all of us were tuned in and watching Glad and Clyde and Krusty, and it was the entire community that came together, Raid Secrets and Destiny the Game Reddit and all these different forums and all these different personalities. And yeah, I have to tell you, Raid Secrets was so close when that hint came out to like the exact pattern to do it. And then when they got that additional hint, that confirmed it. And their very first try in, they got it right. And that's a complicated solution. I've gone in and put it in. I've got the emblem, and I have to tell you, like, I would have never come up with that. So
Calling that a
bravo to
hint,
Bungie
though,
for putting
wasn't
out
that
the
supposed to
entire
be
community.
like a clue? Like it was supposed to be part of the puzzle. But they just
Let's ask that,
Tough
guys.
clue.
Do you think it was genuinely supposed to be a part of the puzzle, and Bungie was like telling the truth, or do you think they saw that the puzzle wasn't that
How?
great and they're like, guys,
I could
Those words supposed to be in the
totally see that.
background of the monitor? Like, where did that fit? How was that part?
That's
No,
the
well-
thing. That's why I'm suspicious, because they didn't say, oh, it was supposed to be here when viewed through a sniper or whatever. It was just like, yeah, it was supposed to be there, guys.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it totally could have been. We don't know where it was supposed to be, where that hint was supposed to be.
Maybe there's
What if
another one on the wall.
What if it was on a wall somewhere and you're supposed to look around to find it, and no one just ever did, or maybe it just actually isn't there, which is why they decided to give the hint. I could totally see.
I think it's actually not there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it legitimately couldn't be there. And so that's why, like, if you were testing that activity, you would just have all the things to hit. You're just testing to see if it works. You're not
Right.
testing to see if the thing pops up probably. So, yeah, no, I totally see, like, that's a very plausible thing. It could, they totally could have missed that.
Mhm. And for those Guardians out there in the world that are going in and do it yourself, on Puzzle 7, the hitbox of the fish emblem is not on the fish.
Yeah.
It's closer to you, and you will wipe and wipe and wipe and wipe until you figure that out.
I'm real surprised they actually did that the first time, because Watts, Cece-kun and I, we did that about 3 times, and we just were like, fuck it. We can't do, like, we made it without the cheese and everything.
Yep.
And we just couldn't do it it was because I was shooting fish, assuming that the
fish.
fish registered, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
That was GSXR Clyde's position, and if you watch from his perspective, he shoots fish 3 times, and he moves it closer to him, and the little dome that pops up and makes the sound is actually down closer to him and to the left of even where the third shot is, but he didn't give up on it until he saw that little dome animation, and the guys from Raid Secrets came in afterwards and thanked him profusely, because had he not continued to shoot fish until he got it, they probably would assume that was the wrong code.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, probably.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
That's one of the things I hope they take away is, like, you know, a fail state say, hey, you failed.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just a message, something to
Challenge
say, hey,
failed.
Challenge,
challenge
exactly.
failed.
With the other
Please.
stuff.
Yeah, definitely.